Hello guys, in this video I am going to show you how to program a small microcontroller like an ATtiny13A or an ATtiny85 or some other microcontroller of that type. Gonna use the Arduino to push the programming to the chip and eventually have a blinking LED like this one. Now, you don't need this type of LED. I've used this type of LED because the other LEDs I had, which were quite few, got blown up from a faulty power bench that I had. Don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so this one doesn't work, but you can use this as well because essentially I am just connecting up 2 terminals, not 4, on this LED. I am connecting essentially the blue anode and the ground wire to what's on this board. Components you're going to need are a breadboard, some sort of microcontroller, an LED like this one or the one I pointed out before, a 220 or 330 ohm resistor, some jumper leads, and some sort of power source. This one I have came with the board. It supplies 3.3 volts when you plug it in to the rails, or you can use the headers here to provide 5 volts, which I have done here. There's a crocodile clip on the 5 volt here, supplying the 5 volts to pin number 8 on this microcontroller. So if you haven't done so already, the first thing you want to do is download the Arduino IDE for whichever operating system you're using. Once you've done that, you want to head over to the IDE and you want to head over to the boards manager. You just click on this icon here and go to the boards manager, and you want to install Arduino AVR boards and microcore by MCU dude. And if you can't see that on here, then you're going to need to go to File Preferences and paste this link in here that's got the JSON file for this MCU dude package, which is going to communicate with the board and push the programming to the chip for the ATtiny. So once that's all done, you want to go to File, New Sketch. That's going to give you a new sketch here. You're probably going to see COM1, COM3, COM2, whatever. Just if you select one of them, it's going to bring you to this window here. And you want to make sure that you're selecting Arduino Uno for, in my case, COM3. If I go to Device Manager here, actually I've already got it open. And if I click on ports or expand ports here, I can see USB serial CH340. My Arduino is a third-party Arduino, so the CPU is, this is the name of the CPU. So I know that my Arduino is connected to COM3. So you're going to want to select Arduino Uno or whichever Arduino you've used and select on whichever COM port it's on and click OK. So now this is Arduino Uno on COM3. Now you're going to want to paste the code that I've provided in the description. Very simple. It's just telling it to loop on switching on pin 13, waiting 1 second, then switching off pin 13 and waiting 1 second. Very, very simple script. Now, what you want to do is make sure that your Arduino Uno is plugged in. With that plugged in, you should just be able to push the code by clicking on this upload button here. So this is going to push the code straight to the Arduino Uno. Yeah, and it's done uploading, so everything's good there. We see no errors. Next thing you're going to want to do is hook up the LED to the Arduino. Okay, so this is switched on for the moment, so just for good practice, I'm going to unplug it. So I don't know if you can see, but pin 13 here is where I want to be putting my anode. So I'm just going to get a jumper lead. My anode I'm going to be putting on blue. Let's see if I can have a look. Yeah, which is this one, which is the blue cable. So that I'm going to be hooking up into pin 13 right there. And then for the cathode, which is the ground here, that's going to be going into a breadboard, connected to a resistor, and then connecting to the ground in the board. Green is my ground. Add a resistor here. And by the way, if you've never used a breadboard before, these lines are all connected. These lines are all connected in this direction. And then this section here is all connected in the vertical direction. And the same goes for this. But this is not connected to this vertically. You need to bridge from here to here if you want to make a connection. So anyway, this is the cathode of the LED, which is then hitting a resistor here. And There's the other end of the resistor here, which I'm going to connect to and add to the ground. That's the ground, the one next to pin 13. Okay, now I'm going to plug up the Arduino. And as you can see, the code is working. Okay, so with the code working, I'm now going to rewire everything to hook it up. To basically hook up the Arduino to the microcontroller because I want to program this microcontroller. So I'm going to have it with pin 1, which you can normally tell is pin 1 because there's a little notch here. So wherever the notch is, that's normally pin 1. Then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm just going to plug this in carefully. Okay, yeah, that's in. So from the ATtiny13A, pin 1 needs to go into pin 10. So this is pin 1, and that's going to go into pin 10. Now I'm going to put pin 4 of the ATtiny into Arduino ground. Arduino ground is right here. And then pin 5 into Arduino pin 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goes into pin 11. Then pin 6 into pin 12. Into pin 12. Then pin 7 into pin 13. Getting a little bit tight here. Pin 8 goes into the Arduino 5V. So that's pin 8 there. Okay, so you want to go File, New Sketch. With your new sketch, you're still going to have Arduino Uno selected here, which for the moment is fine. And then go to Tools. So under Board, you want to select the microcore ATtiny13. Then you want to go to Tools, Programmer, Arduino as ISP. Okay, so back to the Arduino IDE. First things first, you want to check your preferences, make sure you've got the link in here for the additional boards. Next up, the tools. You want to make sure that your programmer is Arduino as ISP. And then additionally, you want to check under board that you have microcore ATtiny selected. So with everything hooked up, I'm going to plug in the Arduino now. Okay, so that's plugged in, it's on, it should be connected with the microcontroller now. What I'm going to do is go to File, Examples, Arduino ISP, Arduino ISP. Click on that, it should open a new window with a bunch of code that you need to push to the Arduino. So just click on Upload. And it shouldn't give you that error message, but I think I know why. It's because it says ATtiny13 here. So we don't want ATtiny13. We want to edit our COM3 again. And we want Arduino Uno in here. So I've got Arduino Uno on COM3 serial port USB. We click OK. I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to try and re-upload again. Yep, and it's done compiling. That went totally fine. All right, so you can close that window now. So now what you can do is you can edit this again. So you don't want Arduino Uno anymore. You've pushed the code to the Arduino Uno. Now you want the ATtiny13. So click on OK, and we're going to paste the second block of code that's in this video in the description. And once again, you want to go and check Tools and check the programmer Arduino as ISP is selected, which indeed it is. We're going to then select Burn Bootloader. There is no bootloader on the ATtiny, but we just do it anyway. It did have a bootloader. This is what you would do. So I always get this error message, and I think it's because there's no bootloader. So, but best practice is you should run this before uploading any code to your microcontroller. So next thing you want to do is just go to Sketch and choose Upload using Programmer. Yeah, and indeed, done compiling, uploading, done uploading. So that's all done now. In theory, we should be able to unhook this and then plug up our microcontroller, and it should blink every second with any luck. Okay, so I'm going to disconnect the Arduino here. Okay, so I've got my power source that came with the breadboard. I've got my microcontroller firmly in place here. So the first thing I need to do is connect pin 8. So remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need to connect pin 8 to a 5-volt power source. So here's my pin 8. And this is my 5-volt power source that's connected to the header of the power source that came with the board. Next thing is pin 4 needs to be connected to the ground. The negative rail here is the ground, the positive is the anode. Next thing, I need to connect the LED's anode to pin 5 and then cathode to a resistor. My anode, it's the blue here, it's the blue one here, and that's the blue cable. So let's connect the blue cable, which is the anode, to pin 5. And then I want to connect the cathode. So the cathode is my green cable here for the ground. I need to connect the cathode to a resistor. And again, I don't want to squash this up and make it fit vertically. I'm just going to make use of the wide range here. Okay, so that connects up to a resistor, and then the other end of that resistor is going to ground. So with any luck, if I turn this on, we should see that the LED starts blinking. And indeed it does. Now, just to come back on the point of the normal LED, as I said, you can use a normal LED. Remember, the longer leg of the LED is normally the anode, and the shorter leg is normally the cathode. So if I was to plug this into this device here, or into this board here, then my longer leg, my positive, would plug into my blue here, and the shorter one would go into ground. But because this doesn't work, I can't show that to you. But it's exactly the same concept. Okay, guys, I hope that this was useful. I hope it's been a good introduction to the hello world of circuitry, essentially. I'm on a journey to increase my knowledge significantly in electronics, and this was one of the first projects that I got my hands on to get into electronics and start to understand it. So if this was useful for you, please don't forget to leave me a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my content, which will be of a varied nature, but focus a little bit more on electronics going forward, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And until the next time, I'll see you in the next video.